Hello YouTube, welcome to another great episode of Simon Says Wrestling with your host Simon. Obviously today we're going to be going through Friday Night Smackdown. Great show. Awesome matches in the show. Bit of storyline progression here and there, not that much, but we got where we needed to be when obviously going into the next major pay-per-view. It was a great episode of SmackDown today. We got obviously a main event that was announced. It was actually good to see that it was a main event this week. It was Tiffy Stratton versus Bayley for the women's title. It was a main event that was, I think, announced last week. So obviously it was something awesome, and it was a great surprise to see that they had placed it as the main event for that evening. It really feels that we're pushing the women's division into a spotlight where we're having superstars that are pushing the division a bit to a higher level. Most of the women on the roster at this point in time are doing some of the most phenomenal work that I've seen in a while from the women's division. We're definitely picking up, and obviously we were left with more questions than answers with what's going on with Solo Sikoa. But I love the attention to detail that Solo is given in this walkout when he goes into the ring, and then obviously we're going to discuss it a bit more. What's next for him? He doesn't have the Ulafala anymore, and obviously as he's not the tribal chief, what's the next step for him? What does he then want to aspire into being? Does he want to get the Ulafala back? Does he want to maybe have a single title run? We don't know what it holds. We don't know how the loss that he suffered to Roman Reigns on that first Raw on Netflix has affected his confidence and has affected him as a whole, because it looks like Solo is down bad. I really like the way they started off SmackDown today. We had Joe and Wade start the show, starting from the hallway, going into the crowd, obviously announcing where they are, what they were expecting for the night, announcements of superstars coming in. I think it's a fresh take and it's a fresh idea that was executed this week, and it worked really nicely. They interacted with the crowd was present, they kept cheering them on, and then with everything that they had said, the crowd was very responsive. You gotta love it. It was obviously in San Diego, California, which is a hometown to Rey Mysterio, who was the first superstar, I think, to walk out and then welcome the whole crowd to San Diego, sharing his story as to how he won the Royal Rumble back in 2006. He made a good point where he said that he had won it for a friend at that time, and then this year he would love to win it for himself. Obviously a great way to kick off the show, and I have no idea, but for some reason Rey Mysterio is aging backwards. Rey Mysterio looks like he's in the best shape of his life. The guy still moves like a 21-year-old, and he's a legend who I feel that is a great babyface, such a great babyface. I think he's over with the crowd and the superstars in the locker room. Recently, the New Day has been referring to him as a locker room leader, basically just somebody that everyone goes to for advice. And it's a role that he deserves. He's been in the game for a minute now, and obviously explaining and declaring himself that he himself this year is going into the Royal Rumble, and saying that the Royal Rumble is packed was an understatement. The Rumble itself this year it's heavy. We've got heavy hitters in that Royal Rumble, and it's gonna be an exciting one to just wait and see who wins the Rumble, because we've all got our own favorites. My favorite would be Drew McIntyre, but I don't know in which direction are they taking this Rumble, because there's so many storylines and then so many individuals that are clashing together that it would make for an interesting Royal Rumble, and it will be one for the ages. I keep saying this to my friends, that it's gonna be one for the ages. It's gonna be so flipping awesome. We're gonna have surprises here and there. I saw a post with Mick Foley, who had just lost weight recently. It would be awesome to see him in the Rumble. He lost a lot of weight. Shout out to Mick for losing that amount of weight. And if he shows up as a Royal Rumble surprise entrant, it will be something for the ages. And obviously, with that being said, Rey Mysterio had then welcomed the crowd, explained that he would be going into the Royal Rumble, and then obviously saying that in 2006 he won it for a friend. With that being said, Kevin Owens came out, and ladies and gentlemen, I will keep saying this, Kevin Owens is right. Kevin Owens is right. Kevin Owens is the undisputed WWE champion of the WWE. That's my champion. Still carrying around the winged belt. Kevin apologized for interrupting Rey Mysterio in his promo, and then obviously just let him know how much respect he actually has. And it's almost between a line of reality and madness with Kevin Owens. He basically just told him that he has so much respect for the guy, and in came in the funny part where he said that he knows that Rey Mysterio will win the Royal Rumble and beat all those other idiots in his direct words, and he's just asking Rey Mysterio to do the right thing and challenge him for his title once Rey wins the Royal Rumble. So Kevin Owens wants Rey Mysterio to choose him as his opponent for the Winged Eagle Championship, and it will be a great match. It will be the first time we actually see this. Kevin Owens is doing some of his best work at this point in time. He's always been good at like playing the heel, also being with the fact that his gimmick includes a sense of reality in it. Kevin Owens is not the heel that's delusional to a point where he doesn't make sense. He is delusional, but sometimes when he speaks and when he explains where he's coming from, you actually get where and how he's coming from. But he's playing some of his best work at this point in time. Obviously, he got sent over the edge. They had a bit of an altercation with Rey Mysterio, obviously almost hitting the 619 on him, but Kevin Owens rolling out of the ring. And what's weird is what sent Kevin Owens over the top wasn't the fact that Rey Mysterio said he's delusional or that he's not the champion. What sent him over the edge was the fact that Kevin Owens was compared to Dominic Mysterio. And Kevin Owens that obviously thought that amounts to Rey Mysterio getting hands. So with that segment ending, you got the feeling that you might be getting a one-on-one match with them tonight or on next week's SmackDown. Fortunately for us, it was on tonight's SmackDown, and obviously in Rey's promo for the whole Royal Rumble, it would be crazy for me to leave out the fact that rest in peace to Eddie Guerrero. I think that Rey Mysterio is one of the many superstars who's kept his name alive in the business. The guy did some phenomenal work for the WWE, and every day as fans we miss the guy. And but rest in peace to him and the legacy that he left behind. He was one of the most. He's actually one of the pioneers that I would say got most people into wrestling. His charisma, the way he won his matches, lying, cheating, and stealing, he made everything just look cool. We miss him so much in the ring, and it's almost hard to fathom where he would have been if he was still in the business at this point in time. But rest in peace to Eddie, man. And at the end of the day, that segment was all done with obviously Kevin Owens and then Rey Mysterio with a match that was announced later during the show. Naomi and Bianca, they had a backstage promo with obviously Bianca just apologizing to Naomi for the actions that has transpired the previous week, with obviously her hair and an interference with obviously her having good intentions to try and help Naomi win the match. But I guess it didn't work out as it did, as there was interference. And what's weird to me is that there's a theory that says that Naomi could have been the one that attacked Jade, that got Jade out of action. So it's gonna be an interesting story to see unfold, because obviously we need to know the reason as to why Naomi decided to turn on Jade, or to maybe attack Jade the way that she was at the time. It's gonna be an interesting story. She also gave Bianca this look, almost like, I will run you over, woman. I will run you the F over, but I'm not gonna do it now. And it's just an interesting turn of events. It's gonna be an interesting storyline to obviously see take place, and then just happen all that. Just see what happens when Jade does come back. It's not confirmed when she will be back, but she did send out a tweet later this week asking Are you sure about that? This was on a post. I think it was saying they still haven't caught the... No, it was actually between the interaction with Bianca and Naomi, and she just sent that she was like, you sure? So obviously leaving hints. And I love how this new era is integrating social media accounts into their storylines. As you can see, there's Drew McIntyre, who's doing a phenomenal job on Instagram, on posting clips that almost feed into his story going into the ring. So it makes more sense for you to then, okay, if you follow Drew and then you keep up with the content, you keep up with the videos that he posts, you actually know his standpoint from, so he doesn't take up too much promo time, but you already have a backstory as to why he's acting the way he is. It was a move, I think, that was initiated by The Rock. Well, it wasn't initiated by The Rock. It was actually Drew McIntyre, and then The Rock just took it a bit further, where he included his promos in his social media feed to go into the story going forward. So I think it's almost like adds to the story, and you get to know more as to how the wrestler is feeling. So they're incorporating their social media with the work. So once you follow those people, you know where the story is going, you know how he feels, you know how he got to the point where he is. And I think it's just an awesome way to then do everything, with obviously Jade jumping onto the wagon saying that you sure about that, obviously adding to the story. Once you see that, you start asking yourself, okay, what does she mean about that? What does she mean that when she asks, are you sure about that? Is it she's gonna tell us when she gets back? She's obviously gonna tell us, but the two people that were mentioned in that, and obviously you start to question yourself. You really just take that what's posted online and you interpret it into the story. We make up our own theories, we make up our own conspiracy theories, and once the reveal is done, makes for a bigger pop. Personally, I think, you know what, Naomi did it. I don't know why she did it, and I can't for the life of me fathom Naomi as a heel. But she's a great in-ring performer, and she's great on the mic. And obviously we will get an explanation which will keep these three ladies in themselves in that story, maybe going into WrestleMania or the Rumble, just to give us a sense as to how the story carries them and why she did what she did. And it's going to be an interesting story to see unravel, because I think Bianca has been stuck in this. I would say she hasn't actually been stuck, but she hasn't had something that she can sink her teeth into. So now working with these three women, or with Naomi working with Bianca and Jade is gonna be a good story to watch. Obviously anyone and everyone can tell you that these are three incredible athletes, and it's gonna make for a great story that we all gonna need to just keep our eyes peeled on and keep making conspiracy theories until everything unravels itself and we get the big reveal, almost giving you that whole Triple H and Shawn Michaels vibe when Triple H attacked Shawn Michaels and video footage was released and it was shown that it was Triple H who attacked Michaels. It gives you that sort of vibe. It almost leans like we're going into that storyline, but we'll see how it unravels. It's a great storyline either way, with great, phenomenal three women that are involved in it. And this obviously was the pre-segment going into the match between Nia Jax with Candice LeRae against Bianca and Naomi. Now I noticed something. It was actually in the first 10 to 5 minutes. Where was Naomi? I know she got blasted in the beginning of the match, but it seemed like Bianca was carrying that match all alone and Naomi was nowhere to be found. Obviously with Nia Jax pulling her off the apron, making it impossible for Bianca to take in Naomi. But at a certain point, I just kept asking myself, where is Naomi? Is she still in the match? But yeah, it gives off, it's the small stuff, it's the small attention to detail that you start asking yourself, okay, what's going on? Why is she taking so long to then get up and then try and help Bianca? She wasn't in the match that long either. I think she made one hot tag, got a few moves in, and then left. Went missing again. Bianca carried the match once again. So it's the small details. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe I'm reading into it. I have no idea. But it's a great story to see unravel. And then obviously in this match, we have Naomi and Bianca that won the match. tag team match with a bit of a miscommunication between Candice LeRae and Nia Jax. And I just feel like one of these days, Nia Jax is just going to snap and just kill Candice LeRae and break her in half. I just feel like it. But it's a lot of miscommunication. It's a new tag team. They still have to get into the gel and things of getting to know each other as a tag team themselves. Like I said, Bianca and Naomi won the match, celebrated, went out. Miscommunication between the two ladies. We went into another promo which had Bailey just telling us about her story with Byron Saxton, where she started, how much drive she has to win a title, and then how she felt that she was robbed of a proper title reign from the last, because I think Nia Jax beat her at SummerSlam, yes, with the help of Tiffany Stratton, who now obviously is the champion. So going into that, Bailey was just explaining how she wasn't given a proper chance to be a champion that she deserved, she could have been. And with that being said, we got Melo versus Jimmy. Obviously, with the bloodline story entangled the way that it is, it's been mentioned on the TV a lot. Roman's got the Royal Rumble. Jay's got his match with Gunther. Obviously, now where do we stand with Jim? What's the plan with Jim? It would be awesome to see the Usos reunited again, but I feel like Jay has got so much heat on him that he needs to have a title run somewhere along this year, just to solidify himself as a singles competitor. With Jim, it's also going to be incorporated where he goes into the bloodline story, because that's where it looks like everything is going in. With Melo is a young up-and-coming superstar. That's how I feel. He's getting the TV time. He's getting the exposure that he needs. He's great on the mic. And the most disrespectful thing that I think he did today, I think he called Jim Unk. Now, I don't know. There's like Melo he's an awesome mic. Like he's what I think NXT would be the most proud of producing, because not only is he an incredible athlete, he can carry himself on that mic, and he gives it this whole sense of attitude and brashness and cockiness to it that gives you his character, that you think, oh, he's still a young lad that wants to get into the game, but he still needs to learn the ropes to then make himself into a superstar that will be above that level. Melo is a great superstar. Melo is flipping awesome. It's been one of the best highlights in NXT, including with Trick Williams. The feud that they had in NXT was absolutely fantastic. It was phenomenal. It was a great feud. You get the sense that he's destined for big things. I think one of these days we might consider him the face of the company, because he's really being pushed to the moon and back. The fact that he's getting that much TV time, that on a weekly basis he either has a segment or he has a match, that's a great push for the guy. Obviously in his match there was bloodline interference. Jacob Fatu and Tangaloa made the presence felt. And if we're talking about superstars that can carry this company, if you ask me to make a top 5 list, I will tell you it's going to be Obafemi, it's going to be Jacob Fatu, it's going to be Braun Breaker, it's going to be Melo, it's going to be Trick Williams. Tiffany Stratton is definitely in that list, this is on the female side, but these 5 guys that I just mentioned, these 5 guys can carry this company going forward into bigger and better heights. I feel that these guys are what's needed for the company to go into the next stage. These are the superstars that we have. With Jacob and Tangaloa making their presence felt, the match ended in a disqualification. Obviously, in favor of Jimmy Uso, of Jimmy Uso winning with a disqualification on the match. This gave way for Solo Sikoa to make his way down into the ring. And Solo didn't say a single word this week. Solo didn't say anything, but his actions were telling. His actions were telling you that this is a man that's broken and feels that he's missing something. He's missing a part of himself, which is the Ulafala, because he kept touching his chest. He kept looking at the crowd with this intense long looks, his slow pacing walk to the ring, looking around. He's not as confident as he once was when he had that Ulafala, when he was leading his bloodline into that ring. And it's just the small things that you see with Solo, hand gestures, looking around, the seriousness, the doubt. It's almost like he's telling a story just by walking into the ring and not cutting that promo. And this is phenomenal work from Solo. He didn't even need to grab the mic. He didn't even need to say anything. He grabbed the mic, he almost put it to his mouth, almost like he was going to say something. Crowd went ballistic, started booing him, just telling him that you suck. And all of this obviously got to Jacob. Solo just dropped the mic, took off his suit, wearing the weekend fit, like painting the town red with that jacket. Like when he's in that jacket, I feel like he's just in like boss mode. And he's wearing those gloves that he has on, almost like fiendish like gloves. And he said nothing. Solo said nothing, but his emotions, his actions gave you the sense that he doesn't know what's next. He doesn't know what to do. He's lost without the Ulafala. He doesn't maybe even have a direction as to what going forward, what's the plan. And he just walks out of the ring, just walks out in through the crowd, booing, everyone asking themselves, why didn't you say anything? We were left with question marks. Okay, what's next for Solo? What is he gonna get up to? What is he gonna then try and is he gonna try and go back to the whole Ulafala issue and try to get it back, or is he gonna go into a singles run? Is the bloodline line destined into something? Are we moving towards something else rather than the Ulafala? It's gonna be great to watch as time goes by. What's the plan with Solo? What's the plan? What's the plan that he has? And Jacob cut a promo. Now, when I tell you that there's scary people in this world that can make you scared just from saying something, it would be Jacob Fatu. I don't know what the promo was about. I don't even want to lie. But I felt like he was saying that if we thought that he has reached his peak at this point in time, he hasn't even gotten started. It left me a bit confused because then I was asking myself, is this part of the bloodline story where he starts to branch out on his own, or is he just then telling everyone that what they're doing? Because he didn't mention anything about the bloodline. He just said people thought he was unhinged, people thought he was losing it, but at the end of the day, he's got his. That's why I got a bit confused, and I was like asking myself, okay, is this now a promo to tell people how dangerous and how crazy things are gonna get going forward? Or what are we doing with the whole bloodline issue? What are we doing with the bloodline group as a whole itself? Tamatonga, Tangaloa, where do they fit into what he's promising everyone? I just don't understand that. But he cut an exceptional promo. The fact that he can cut that sort of promo make you feel the way that you start asking yourself, oh, he's not dangerous now. When is he gonna get dangerous? That's where we were. That's what I got from that promo, is that he's only getting started, and going forward it's just gonna cause more chaos, more craziness, and then we just want to see how this whole thing works out. And going forward, does the Ulafala then still play more of a role than titles do, in the sense? Because obviously I feel like in the past 3 months, 4 months with Solo having that with the Ulafala, it became more relevant than what the title was. Not taking anything or discrediting anything Kevin Owens was doing, but the Ulafala was getting that attention that it was almost sort of a title. And do we still incorporate the Ulafala into the storyline, or do we take it out of the storyline and then we focus more on titles and then try to push all of that, obviously with the original tribal chief? It's gonna be an interesting story. With the bloodline, new angles are always introduced into the story. New competitors, new wrestlers are always pushed into the story. Because, no offense, but these guys, if they wanted to, could open up their own wrestling company and just run it off a bloodline story. Roman's cousins, Rakishi's sons. It's a whole big family tree, and it's always exciting to see what new angle they're gonna put into the story to make it all that better. It's been running for a while now. I honestly haven't had any bad moments or any bad experiences with this. I've enjoyed it thoroughly from the time that Roman Reigns built the bloodline with just Jimmy and Jay, and then obviously including Solo into it, Paul Heyman being into it. Obviously with Paul working closely to them, you know there's going to be great ideas incorporated into the show itself and into the story that's going to always make it go bigger, better, and crazier. So it's always great to see that. But what's next for Solo? What's next for Solo? What do we see going forward for Solo? And obviously now we've got tag team action. I like how these matches are so balanced out that you get tag team matches for the divas and the males, and then you get tag team, then you get single action for the females and the males. So it's almost like the show balances out, because there's a lot of Karens on the internet who complain that women aren't being given enough time on the show. But I feel that with this SmackDown, they were given an adequate amount of time to showcase their art and to showcase pro wrestling, and just in themselves just go through the whole thing. We got a match between the Machine Gun, Motor City Machine Guns versus the two gents from Legado. I think it's Legado. Yeah, it is Legado. It's Legado. I don't know. I have this weird thing that I just, when recording, names just go out. I make notes, but I can't even read the notes that I made. But they're from the Legado Fantasma group. It's two up-and-coming superstars. I'm so sorry I forgot the names. I'll put it in the comment section. I'm so sorry. It just goes out of my head for some weird reason. It was a great match. And Pretty Deadly keeps injecting themselves in these matches. I don't know whether they're trying to make like a path for them to go into the... I don't understand how you interfering in matches gets you on a good scale for the tag team champions to reward you with the match. It's a weird concept for me, but it makes sense when Apollo Crews comes and explains to them, tries to show them and guide them that doing favors for these guys is not gonna get you guys a title shot. Same way with what Tommaso Ciampa said today to them. You need to grow up, you need to get your act together, and then you need to have intention of getting these titles from them. Obviously, they're using them so that whenever they defend their titles, they can maybe run interference. I don't know, but we need Pretty Deadly to get up on that greedy stuff, and then just leave all the theatrics out. Let's leave all the theatrics out. Let's build the group. Let's go crazy. Let's be full heels. Let's not be the comedic heels that everyone has known us to be. Because honestly speaking, Pretty Deadly had one of the most, I would say, it's a very different approach to their gimmick. It's two pretty boys who like fashion. And we've seen a lot of superstars who perceive themselves as perfect, who perceive themselves as higher standards of the division of the WWE. But these two guys actually have the potential to take it to a higher and bigger place. And Pretty Deadly, like Tommaso Ciampa said to them, get your act together, and I believe they can be one of the best tag teams. They are one of the best tag teams, given the fact that the gimmick has gotten so over. This is from obviously their NXT days. It has gotten so over onto the main roster, but it needs to be more aggressive. They were more aggressive. They were crazier, I would say, in NXT than they are now. They're now a bit more into the comedic side of things. Yes, we do need a bit of comedic relief here and there, but let's not take the comedic relief and make it a focal point on a tag team that has so much potential to even take over the division itself. And I just feel like Tommaso Ciampa summarized it nicely for them. Take it seriously and do what you need to do. Be the man that they know they can be. And it was obviously a great match, with obviously Motor Machine Guns winning the match. Pretty Deadly was trying to help the Legado Fantasma guys, but failed. Instead of helping them, they distracted the referee when they had the Motor Machine Guns pinned, and the referee was just dealing with the Pretty Deadly from outside of the ring. And yeah, it's one of those. We need Pretty Deadly to get that seriousness back into the tag team so they can go all out and be the tag team that we know them they could be. And now we've got a section with B-Fab and Michin, just maybe catching up on whatever it is they were catching up on. And the mall cop walks in, and I'm telling you, Piper Niven is doing some of her, I would say, with Chelsea Green by her side, it's one of the craziest. It's a normal tag team where you have the monster backing up the cowardly small chick who can always win her fights without Piper being there. And it's a great duo. They have a great comedic they have a great comedic, what would you say, interaction between the two, and it's always great to see Chelsea Green, the only the only woman to defend the women's United States Championship. She just cracks me up every time she gets onto the screen. It's such a delight to watch her work, and everything about her is just, it's just exaggerated in a not so in your face kind of way, but in a way where you watch it and you go, oh, okay, she's she's doing something crazy again. And it's always great to see that interaction between superstars who gel with each other so well that they make everything that they're in work. They benefit each other, but obviously at some point Piper needs to get out and go into her own lane, and it will be great to see that day. But for now, we're still enjoying the reign of Chelsea Green as the United States champion. B-Fab obviously getting up and then making a match between her and Piper Niven, in which Piper won the match. Piper won the match obviously with a distraction from your girl, the only female wrestler to defend the United States Championship, Chelsea Green. It was a good match put together, but obviously Piper also picking up some steam and benefiting from the relationship that she has with Chelsea. It was a great way to obviously catch momentum going into the pay-per-view that we follow. We don't know what the plan is with Piper, and we don't know what the plan is with Chelsea, but Chelsea, I feel, will always be relevant because of her title. And then if Chelsea is relevant and Piper is in the story, going forward, we can only expect great things from those two. And then we got Rey Mysterio versus Kevin Owens. Two great in-ring athletes. Rey Mysterio is what now? 50, 56, and he is moving. Like, this is my issue with Rey Mysterio. He is still doing things that we watched him do when we were teenagers, and I can barely get out of bed without complaining about my back. And this guy is moving around the ring like he's plugged into a PlayStation. Like, it's literally onto a PlayStation, and he's just going back and forth. He's just going back and forth, having fun. It's one of the craziest things, and he gets a lot of love, which he deserves wholeheartedly, because he's a legend in this game. He's one of the best luchadors, and you can only imagine with him still being in the game what a match between him and Penta would be. Would they be rivals, or would he be someone that he takes under his wing and tries to guide? Rey Mysterio is in phenomenal form. Kevin Owens never disappoints when he's in the ring. He will never disappoint you. He's one of the greatest in-ring workers that I believe. We overlook a lot of things with Kevin, but he's one of the best in-ring workers that I know at this point in time in this generation. They had a great match, back and forth here and there. At some point, Kevin was slamming Rey Mysterio's head into the rail, and Rey's daughter was just there smiling. I got the fact that maybe she grew up around the locker room and she knows Kevin Owens on a personal level. Obviously, she does know Kevin Owens, and maybe Kevin Owens is a good friend to her, and obviously a great friend of the family. But she just had this weird smile, like, just bang his head, just bang my dad's head on the rail. And I think she was just having too much fun. That's the only thing that stood out. And obviously with that match, Kevin Owens won the match. Kevin Owens, he will say that it was inadvertently, but let me not say he will say that. Kevin Owens is always right. So once he says that he didn't bump that referee intentionally for Rey to trip over the ropes and fall on the top turnbuckle, he will clarify it. Kevin is right. Kevin is always right. I don't understand why you guys don't get that the fact that the undisputed heavyweight champion of the WWE is Kevin Owens. I need the WWE to please, wholeheartedly, just do the right thing, Triple H. Put this guy on the WWE website with the title and say he's the undisputed champion. That's all we need to do. That's all we need to do. Everything will be alright. And I noticed that Kevin Owens was wearing a Rey Mysterio shirt, obviously paying homage. But at the same time, it's that line that I was telling you about. There's reality, and then there's the madness delusional thing that Kevin Owens runs on. If you view his shirt, you're almost saying that he's paying homage to Rey Mysterio. He's like, I respect the guy that I'm in the ring with. But if you look at from another side, you're like, he's making fun of him because he's wearing his own merch to come beat him up with. And that's the beauty with Kevin Owens. That's the beauty. That's how he incorporates reality line delusion. You know, it keeps going in this one, into that one, into this one, into that one, and you enjoy the ride. You start feeling that, oh, he might actually have a point, which is another another point that I made in my previous video, that you can get so many people that will make you feel that he's a bad guy, but he's a bad guy that's justified. He's a heel that's justified, and why he's doing. I would do the same if I was put in the same situation. It's almost relatable to any other situation. And obviously in this match, Owens won, and he was about to hit Rey Mysterio with the power driver, which then the other guy that's running around with the title that's not his came into the match and obviously started having a brawl between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. They had to sign the contract, and they kept having this back and forth. Nick Aldis did add an addendum. He said an addendum to the contract, which both competitors have to sign, which I feel is probably going to be on some, like, if you initiate physical contact with the other individual, you will lose. For Kevin, it will be the fact that he will lose the title shot, and then for Cody Rhodes, it will obviously be that he will relinquish the title if he then touches or has any physical altercation with who's this? With Kevin Owens. So obviously Nick Aldis made the addendum and said the contract does need to be signed next week. What I liked about this is the fact that Nick Aldis explained as to why he will have an official contract signing, because contract signings in the past have been, it was just dull. It was just, we're having a contract signing next week. They sign the contracts get thrown out, someone gets power bombed through a table. But now they're putting in small minor details where they show the superstar doesn't want to sign it, the other superstar doesn't want to sign it. So the reason why we have to get a special enforcer or someone to oversee that whole contract signing is the fact that you two don't want to sign this contract, but we need signatures on this contracts and have it obviously implemented. So they taking this chance to give the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, who's working at NXT at this point, but I'm guessing since, well, the next episode of SmackDown will be in his hometown, so obviously giving the hometown crowd someone that they can relate to, they've always loved, and then they'll always give a huge, massive ovation and pop too when they come out, just to make that whole thing feel a bit more special, just to make it feel a bit more bigger. Question is Shawn Michaels ready to take a power driver? You never know. And yeah, next week we've got the contract signing, and it's gonna be flipping awesome. We also got another announcement that the official location for WrestleMania is Las Vegas. We got the whole presentation, not a presentation, what do they call it? Yeah, I'm gonna call it a presentation for now. I seriously need to start making notes on to call these things. Fuck. But anyway, it's gonna be in Las Vegas, and I'm thinking that WrestleMania 42. This is how long I'm giving the channel time to grow, and I'm thinking that I'm gonna work towards going to WrestleMania 42, depending where it will be. But this is something that I've always wanted. I always wanted to travel overseas just to see and get the feel of WrestleMania, because obviously watching it from home and watching it live in the ring is gonna be two different things. So I wanna attend my first WrestleMania next year, whether it's from me saving money personally or whether it's money that we make off of YouTube. At the end of the day, I wanna go to WrestleMania 42, and for now that is the note for next year. I wanna go to WrestleMania 42 and watch it live, and I might even grab the South African flag and put it in the crowd, who knows. And obviously we went into the main event. Oh, before I forget, we've got two meaty men going at it on Saturday Night Live main event. We've got Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope the ring gets reinforced. I hope the ring gets reinforced at this point in time, because that's gonna be one hell of a match. Braun Strowman has been hot and cold, I would say, but the matches that he's had with the people that he's had it with have been pretty awesome. I remember his match with Bronson Reed, who's currently out on injury, but he will be back soon causing chaos in the WWE. It was one hell of a monster versus monster match. It gave us like Godzilla versus King Kong vibes. It was such an awesome match, and what I'm seeing now, the direction that we're trying to go into, obviously with the Bloodline having taken out Braun Strowman, now he wants his comeuppance. He just wants to beat someone up and then just deal with them the way that he knows how to, obviously with hands. And it's gonna be such an awesome match to watch. Big E would love this match. Big E would love this match, and it's gonna be one of an interesting match to see how we then push the two superstars from that match going into the storylines individually and seeing what's next for them. And we finally got the main event today, Tiffany Stratton versus Bailey, excuse me. Tiffy's on a roll. It's definitely Tiffy time. It's too soon to tell how good the title reign will be, but Tiffy as a competitor is one of the best in the business. She's obviously going to do what she needs to do to make herself a bigger star than she already is. I don't think it gets any bigger than where she is now, holding the title. Great match with Bailey, who's on her, I would say, give back to the youth stage, where she's building up other women in the division. She's been working closely with NXT, and she's just giving back to and building superstars. And that's always great to see when a veteran from the locker room doesn't just come up to cameras and doesn't just come up in promos and says, I want to fight the young guys in the back and help them, but they never really give them that stepping stone to go to the next level. So with Bailey, it's great to see, and obviously this was made to show that Tiffany is a champion that's strong. The champion, it basically comes off as strong. She won the match. It was a great match. And with the women's division, I believe that it's probably at 80% to perfection. It's almost on 80%. Charlotte Flair is coming back soon. It's going to be great to see which direction she heads into. Obviously, we're all hoping that she just doesn't come back on the first night and gets a title shot. We just don't want that. We need a story to go with Charlotte Flair. We need to have an angle to see what's her next move, what's next for her to achieve. 14 world titles or something like that she's already won. What are we doing now? Are we then building more? Are we building on to number 15? Are we... which direction are we heading with Charlotte Flair? It's going to be interesting to see. A solid show from SmackDown. Great in-ring action, promos. We got obviously clues as to what's going on forward. We got questions on where Solo heading to, with Tiffany as well. Great first title defense. And we had a great episode of SmackDown, and my thing and the thing that I want to find out now is what's next for Solo. That's more than any other thing that I found interesting on the show. It's what's next for Solo. What do we do with Solo Sikoa? What's his next move? Comment below what you guys think should be next for Solo, how we should handle the loss to Roman Reigns, the Bloodline, obviously matches that you're looking forward to, and any suggestions as how to make the channel a bit better. And we communicate, guys. We interact. Follow me on X. It's Sai Says Wrestling. It's at Sai Says Wrestling, and we can interact on X. Just talk, hit it up. I am looking into creating an Instagram account based off of all of this, and then just have, like, after these reviews, after these shows, obviously as time goes by, we're gonna have live reactions with every pay-per-view. I'll be waking up a bit early just to see the pay-per-views. Sometimes I might not be able to go live because of work stuff and family stuff, but I will try to then go live and react to the show as it's happening. Obviously in South Africa, as I explained, it plays a bit earlier, 3 a.m. in most cases. That's when pay-per-views take place, and they play out throughout an entire four hours, which is, and then 7 a.m. it ends. So it will be we'll go live, and then we'll go through everything and that, and then just watch everything and go through everything together. But like the channel, subscribe, comment underneath. Any and all suggestions welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Have yourself a lovely one, and as always, peace.